San Diego Comic-Con was last weekend, and it came with a lot of big announcements. Let's talk about them. A lot of really exciting things came out of San Diego Comic-Con last weekend. I want to talk about a few of them. Before we do, guys, San Diego Comic-Con, I feel like it used to be a really big event, and it still is like the biggest Comic-Con I think that we have in the United States. But it just, the past couple of years have seemed kind of lame, to be quite honest. I can't remember a whole lot of announcements coming out at San Diego Comic-Con that were that exciting. But I will say this year has been a welcome surprise because a lot of really exciting things happened. A lot of them were due to Marvel, honestly. We talked about the whole Doctor Doom thing, which I'm going to post a link to the video that I already did on that in the description of this one. So go check that one out if you have not yet. I'll also put in the iCard if those things still exist, actually. It would be up here. The iCard would be up here. Right there. So go check that video out. There are 3 panels specifically that I want to talk about. The first one being The Boys panel was moderated by none other than Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who was in Season 4. He played a character and a very important, prominent character, and so he moderated the panel for that. They had the whole cast come out, except for they did not have Carl Urban, because apparently he is out filming some type of movie where he's playing a pirate, so that's interesting. Yo-ho, I guess. These panels, they always have cast interviews, right? So they interviewed the cast, asked them some questions about Season 4, what it was like filming it, this thing, that thing. Along with the cast interviews, they also were taking questions from the fans, and they let the interviews go a little long, so they only ever asked 3 questions from the fans in attendance. But they still did that. They still did those 2 things. And then they moved on and did something really exciting. They showed an exclusive clip from Gen V Season 2, which I did not go in to look. You weren't supposed to film during the convention. You were allowed to film everything else, all the panels, but you were not allowed to film the clips and things. Some people, I think, still did. I did not watch those, though, because that feels kind of dirty to me, and if I want to see something like that, these previews, I'd prefer to see them when they're intended to be shown to everybody else in the highest quality that they upload them. So, in other words, I want to see them when and how the creators want me to see them. Therefore, I did not see any of those, so there's going to be a lot of that in this video, so I'm just letting you guys know that ahead of time. After they showed the Gen V Season 2 clip comes what I think the most exciting part of the panel was, where they had Jensen Ackles come out, and because he's Soldier Boy, right? And so he came out and he joined the panel. But the exciting news was they announced that he is going to be a regular in the final season of The Boys in Season 5 coming out, which I do believe is supposed to come out 2 years from this year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's going to be sometime in 2026. But either way, looking forward to that. He's going to be back. But even more exciting, they announced a prequel series to The Boys. It's going to take place in the 1950s. That the title that they gave us was Vought Rising, which I'm very excited for. So they announced that Jensen Ackles will be Soldier Boy as a main cast member of that show, which is going to be really exciting, before the events of The Boys. And, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, I think it's Ayakash, Stormfront, essentially. She also made a video appearance announcing that she is also going to star in this Boys prequel. And that makes me really excited. Out of all of these spin-offs and things that they've done for The Boys, this is the one that just by hearing the concept and hearing what they're doing makes me the most excited. But that's the exciting news of The Boys panel, which then brings us to the really big panel, which just so happens to be Marvel. Now, I have a lot to say about Marvel. First of all, in my head, Marvel has always been a staple of San Diego Comic-Con. I know there was at least 1 year where they decided not to show up. That really stinks because I feel like nothing that exciting happened then as a result. But the Marvel panel, a lot happened this year. So the panel was kind of segmented, and they did different sections. So the first thing they did when they opened up, which was really fun, because it was also the same opening weekend as Deadpool and Wolverine, right? So in order to celebrate that, what they did is they had a live choir come out and perform Madonna's Like a Prayer in very Deadpool fashion. And they had a bunch of actors, people in costumes, dressed as different versions of Deadpool, kind of like dancing around in the aisles and stuff. So very fun way to kick that off. And then we went straight into the cast interviews. Brought the cast out for Captain America: Brave New World. They talked with the cast a bit, and then they showed an exclusive clip from the movie, which again, I did not see, but I'm sure it was fantastic. They did that, and then they brought out Harrison Ford, which was cool, so he made a nice appearance, and then they kept things chugging along, and they brought out the cast to the Thunderbolts. Now, I will say the Thunderbolts, they didn't really announce very much. They did show an exclusive clip like they did for Captain America. But the thing about the Thunderbolts is, to me, I feel like it's going to be a Suicide Squad-esque movie, and I'm a big fan of kind of a dysfunctional superhero team story. Because we've got stuff like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. We have, as I just mentioned, the Suicide Squad movies. And basically, because of that premise, just them talking about it, I'm kind of more excited for it than I was, honestly. Because the idea was just kind of meh, whatever. But either way, I'm looking forward to the Thunderbolts a little bit more now after hearing them at San Diego Comic-Con. Even though they didn't really do a whole lot that exciting. Like I said, they showed a clip, they brought the cast out, asked them a few questions, but that was pretty much it. Nothing too exciting there. But to make things more exciting from that point, the Fantastic Four, that gets me really excited because for this movie, they gave us the official title, which is going to be Fantastic Four First Steps. No idea what that means and what that's going to relate to, but at least it's a title and it gives us something to think and theorize and work on, so that's exciting. But again, they brought out the cast. The most exciting thing is they showed off what I believe to be was a teaser trailer. Again, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And either way, that's kind of exciting. Fantastic Four, I think under Marvel Studios, they're really going to give this superhero team a good chance to shine, which is great because the 2000s movies, little mixed people were on those and their quality and how they turned out. I'm a little nostalgic for them because I watched them a handful of times growing up. Not as much as, say, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, but still enough times to, enjoy and appreciate them. They also announced, detail for this movie is going to take place in I believe they described it as a, retro future 60s. So essentially, if you look at a lot of art at the time of what the future was going to look like, it's basically taking place in a universe that is set there. I do believe someone said a while ago, someone official, I don't remember who exactly, that this movie is going to take place, at least primarily, in a different universe. So somehow, this Fantastic Four movie is going to be integrated into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which that plays into another theory that I have. I referenced it in my Doctor Doom video. I'm not going to share it quite yet because it has to do with spoilers from Deadpool and Wolverine. I might do my own video on that sometime. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and sealed. But I will tell you, the other cool thing that they did with the Fantastic Four is they actually showed us, and I don't know how they did it exactly, how they rigged it up, but they had their iconic flying car come out and around, and they showed that off a little bit. Now, the flying car I have a few thoughts on. For one, I think it's a cool design, but not for the Fantastic Four's flying car, because, for one, it looks too much like a car, and the most iconic thing about the Fantastic Four's one is that it's got 4 modules that detach and they can come together. And this doesn't appear to have that, and so I'm kind of disappointed because it just kind of looks like a generic, 60s retro future flying car. So I'm a little disappointed there, but the special effects they used to fly it around Hall H at Comic-Con was awesome, undeniably. And the design, if it were not the Fantastic Four's vehicle, I would say would be awesome. But because it is, kind of got to take a few points off for that. But hopefully, I'm pleasantly surprised when the movie comes out. So after they left, then comes the big stuff, okay? Right at the end, they make the announcement that the Russo brothers are coming back to direct the next 2 Avengers movies. Then the Russo brothers come out, they talk for a little while. They say that they are going to be directing Secret Wars. And they say before Secret Wars, though, there is a movie that they feel they have to do that is very crucial to the events of Secret Wars, which then they come out and announce that it will be called Avengers Doomsday, which is taking place then of Kang Dynasty. So that means Jonathan Majors is officially out. And then they usher in Doctor Doom, making the big announcement that Robert Downey Jr. is returning as Doctor Doom. Once again, I will hold my thoughts for this video on that topic. So that panel then gets wrapped up, which brings me to the next panel that I find exciting, which is the Dexter panel was moderated by none other than Sarah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Michelle Gellar. So, she was there, she moderated. I think she did a pretty good job. What they did is they featured the cast, specifically of the new prequel series that's coming out to Paramount Plus, which I do believe is called Dexter Original Sin. And kind of like what Thunderbolts did in the Marvel panel, did they do with this panel for me, because I heard about this, and to be fair, I just started watching the original Dexter series recently. I am in season 3 right now, toward the beginning. I do enjoy the show a lot, so it's just kind of timely for me that this was happening and I came across it. But hearing the idea of a prequel show, I was kind of like, why do they need to make a prequel of everything? But I do think they're going to tell a really good story with it, to be quite fair, because it sounds to me like everything that we've seen of the Morgan family is all from Dexter's perspective in his head, how he remembers it, whereas this is going to be more based in reality, and this is going to be how things actually were, if that makes sense. And it's going to take place somewhere in the 90s, right after, if I'm not mistaken, Dexter graduates high school. So we're going to get to see a young Dexter. This is before Harry Morgan dies. And I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a really fun show. They're going to have young actors coming in playing younger versions of pretty much all the main cast, so we're going to see a lot of them in and out here and there. But the big exciting thing that they did is they showed a clip. The clip that they showed at this panel, I did watch actually, because right after the panel, they posted it on Dexter's official YouTube page, which was the intro for the new series, which is basically, they kind of just did the same thing from the original intro, but the thing that I find interesting is they did it, except all the things that Dexter kind of did in the original one, they're doing it split between Dexter himself, his sister Deborah, and Harry Morgan. So the three of them are kind of doing all the Dexter morning routine things that we saw in the original show's intro, which is quite interesting and puts kind of a new spin on things. Not like super new, but just enough to keep it fresh. So that was pretty nice. I enjoyed seeing that. But with that too, that intro also made the big announcement that Michael C. Hall, the man, the myth, the legend, Dexter himself, is going to be returning to the show for voiceover work. He is going to be voicing the inner monologue of our young Dexter. So that's pretty cool, getting able to see him come in. And when he came into the panel too, it was also kind of funny, because after that clip was done playing, everyone shuffled their seats and name tags down. They put his name tag up there, Michael C. Hall. And he came in with a box of donuts, which is hilarious because, as I'm sure you know if you've watched Dexter, that's kind of a staple of him, bringing in donuts for the police. So everyone then, they talked, they asked some questions about the new show specifically. They did talk a little bit about the original Dexter show, but mostly in context to how it is going to relate to this new series. But at the end of the panel, the thing that makes me really excited about this too, is they actually announced another Dexter sequel series that is going to follow New Blood, which is going to be titled Dexter Resurrection. And to make these even more exciting, Michael C. Hall will also be returning once again to play Dexter in that series. So I think that's a big win for Dexter fans. I have not seen New Blood yet, but I heard it was a little bit controversial, especially because, and I guess a bit of a spoiler here, I guess I've had this spoiled for me too, but apparently Dexter dies at the end of it. But it appears that that's not going to be the case, given that they're going to continue that story. So we'll see how that plays out. That was my wrap-up of San Diego Comic-Con 2024. Those are the three panels with the announcements that I found to be most exciting. There were a few exciting things thrown in there that I didn't talk about. For example, I believe it was the Prime Animation or Sony Animation, something like that. They showed that Invincible is going to be getting in Invincible Season 3. He'll be wearing his black and blue suit, which is kind of cool. DC showed off their new DC Studios logo. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please, if you like this video, you want to see more content similar to this, please like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to comment your thoughts below. What was your favorite part of Comic-Con this past year? And just to give you a little bit of a snippet about what I'm planning on doing here in the future is I got a few video ideas down the pipeline. Batman Caped Crusader just came out, so I do plan on doing a full review of that season since the whole thing is on Prime now. I'm going to watch it all and give you my thoughts. Also, I am going to do a South Park related video. I know, as you can see from my character, it's South Park. My little mascot, mini-me, if you will. It is South Park themed. I love South Park. There's a specific episode that I want to record my reactions to, and I'll tell you why when I finally get to that. But there's those and a few more video ideas coming down the pipeline as well. I also want your idea. What do you think I should review? Because I'm looking for some ideas. I have plenty of ideas, but I want to give my fans what they want and kind of prioritize those things before I go ahead and do my own thing. I'm K Swope. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.